Blessings, everyone. It's time for the incoming wave, where we talk about the influxes of new energies and new frequencies that are integrating into our reality experience as we continue through this shift in consciousness. And just a quick reminder for everybody, remember, I do present my findings live on my Patreon at 4 p.m. Pacific time, US and Canada, on Tuesdays. I don't know if I said Tuesdays. Tuesdays? Yeah, Tuesdays. And on Fridays, I also have another live that I do. I call it my Weekly Workings webinar, where we talk about the energies that are getting the most oomph and what tools, whether they're tones or stones or herbs and things like that, that you might want to consider, carrying with you into the next week for whatever you are working on. Shifting in your life, whether it's manifestation or alchemy, or you are looking at some kind of ceremony or anything that you're trying to do with your own personal energy, your own personal practice. And again, if you can't make the lives, you always have access to the replays. They're pretty long. They usually go over an hour long. And of course, with Q&As. And again, it's a $5 minimum pledge per month to have access to that. You can always follow the links in the down bar below to my Patreon to have access there. And if you ever want to get a session with me, you can always go to my website, integrativemysticism.com. But I thought, before we go further, that I would actually do some energetic work for you, if that is what you want, okay? I'm basically going to be sending energy through, opening myself up as a pure conduit of whatever is needed for whoever is watching this video, and allowing that to come through. Now, this is going to be something that will not go to work unless you willingly accept it. But I am going to open it up again, and whatever is most needed, right? Whatever energetic support, whatever kind of maybe boost or anything that's going to assist in the highest interest of all concerned. I want to allow that to flow through. And just kind of let it do what it's going to do. So if you are interested in that, I do recommend that, whether out loud or even just in your own head, you do say, I accept this, because I am going to preface by saying, again, this is for willing hearts. This is for folks who are willing to receive this. This is something that I would definitely say, even if you could, take a minute to yourself, or maybe come back to this video and receive it properly. That would be good too, if that's what you want. So let's just take a second to get clear. And I like to take off my glasses for this because I also send energy out through my eyes. So just going to clear all of my form, all I wear and bear. So, that out of the way, let's have a look and see what is going on when it comes to this this coming wave. Remember, these waves are not here one week, gone the next. They are integrating into our experience, and some of us who, you know, really tap in and really go super far with this will feel these ahead of time. So some of this may be validating or confirming certain things that you've already been going through. And some of these things, you know, depending on where you are in your journey, you might not experience until, you know, maybe a little later, maybe even a little bit into the week after the week we talk about it. It's okay. It's just integrating into the collective experience as we go through this week. So our cards that were our articulators for this week were the Page of Cups, Strength, and the Hermit. And this week is really about going to work on the family form and the animalian form is the way I would describe it. So when we say the animal form or the family form, now we are talking about levels of ourselves that we have either inherited through, again, our own physical genetic structure, things that we might have also inherited, you know, through spiritual conditions. When we talk about spiritual conditions, yes, this could be things passed on through family, even passed down through generations. And on the physical, biological side, I do feel this is also going to be doing a number on a lot of genetic memory, inherited DNA memory that may have had an influence on a lot of your own growth and development, or our own process through this as inherited through the family lines or the biological lines that we've incarnated into in this life. And that's one of the big things that I've got here in my journal. DNA and spiritual and etheric templates are going through the raising of their own vibration, which is kind of shaking off and breaking loose and correcting a lot of physiological as well as energetic programs that, again, may have been just kind of cultured into the body, right? Whether it's patterns that were set in our DNA, patterns set by family, or again, just being, you know, an animal on Earth. This is going to also have a profound effect on, you know, what you might consider to be trigger mechanisms, or trigger mechanisms also getting down-regulated. And this has been a topic of discussion in my live I did earlier today when I talk about this video that I'm recording. We talked a lot about how, you know, trigger mechanisms have been, you know, sort of a part of control, right? Triggering people who've not been healing, people who've not been clearing and getting those under control. You know, that's, you can trigger people to do a lot of things when they're not healed or stabilized in that way. Well, trigger mechanisms getting down-regulated with this energy, you're going to be kind of seeing a lot of that's not going to carry the same, you know, energetic impact on your fields. And while there may be still some triggers and some shadows that need to be worked out, right? You are going, you know, we all go through our own process. We have to go through and learn our life lessons. The space between trigger and reaction, and the space between incident and processing is widening. And when we have the downregulating of trigger mechanisms, it basically, you're going to be finding you're not having a lot of those kinds of templates, a lot of those survival programs have the same resonance as the stimulus. And that's actually, I think that's going to help a lot of people really get down to the real work when it comes to, again, raising not only their own vibrations and collective vibrations, but being able to be available to embody higher consciousness, which is very much, you know, that's a part of it. There's no skipping that part of it. So this is going to be a really powerful assist in that way. Genetic memory rewrites clear, passed down spiritual blocks and inhibitors as well. It's not just about, any kind of etheric or, spiritual patterns and whatnot that could be going on there. But we talk about genetic memory rewrites. A lot of things that you might be kind of carrying, you might call this ancestral karma, or at least as far as your physical family tree's karma is concerned. We're going to have a lot of that getting purged and a lot of that getting released and let go. Spiritual blocks and inhibitors that may have run in the family, for instance, or things that have been imposed through family experiences or family connections, are also getting the clearing, getting the zap as this frequency really starts to settle in. And this is going to allow for a lot of dormant spiritual and etheric templates to turn on. So for a lot of people who have been maybe struggling due to a lot of those inhibitors, a lot of those blocks, whether it was, again, too many trigger mechanisms, triggering too much, or, again, those inherited blocks or those ancestral blocks, past life blocks, things like that. Genetic, family, genetic, etheric genetic, we'll put it that way, family karma blocks, all of that kind of getting cleared. It's like getting a big heavy blanket off of your energy field. It makes it a lot more easy to expand. As that goes on, you're going to also find that your own opportunity to really connect with your own true, I guess you could say, spiritual ancestry, your own spiritual past life, yes. Whether they're incarnations or just simply, again, skills, abilities, fragmentations, a lot of that's also going to become more apparent and a much more clear, visible, and maybe even audible for some of us who are clairaudient, opportunity to absorb and reintegrate whatever is going to be reintegrated. What doesn't need to be reintegrated, or what shouldn't be reintegrated or has no business anymore, we're going to start to see a lot of that also get deleted out, because some of that stuff is not relevant. You don't need to necessarily go and redo a lot of that. In fact, we're shortening a lot of lists, a lot of, I guess you could say, karmic to-do lists, clearing a lot of that out with this energy as well. One thing I did want to mention, because it showed up, it stuck out, and I thought it was really cool. Animal communication is going to become more fluent, which is really cool. And does this mean that your dog or cat is going to start speaking your spoken language? No, but that would be cool. But I feel like animal communication is going to be getting its uptick. So you might be noticing on a, telepathic, empathic level, all animals, really all animals. If you are open and you are in a vibration that is presenting welcome, right? If don't try and communicate with an animal when you're kind of like spun out. But if you're going to notice your animal communication abilities, your ability to connect and commune in that way, becoming more, again, available and a lot more fluent as well. And we're also seeing communication to the Godhead, source. When I say source, yes, you could always say God or universal intelligence or prime creator. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you want to call it. The Godhead, we talked about this before because we talk about Oversoul stuff a lot. That's kind of our thing, is basically the core of your Oversoul, right? That's the top of your Oversoul. That is kind of like the big nova from which all of your soul family and Oversoul group, shot off after it shot off from source. And so communication with the Godhead, communication with source, more direct. And a lot of divine relationships are also getting rewritten. And when I say divine relationships getting rewritten, pay attention to what's going on with, any kind of divine teams that you have, any kind of divine associations that you have. It's about elevating you You know, it's about elevating you to also step into your own divinity. And so your relationships, you know, with these beings that you've been spending time with and working with, you know, it's really, you're kind of getting pulled up to be working with them as a part of this bigger, you know, multi-dimensional expression that is you, right? Because these beings are fractals of you as well. So you're going to find a lot of these relationships are getting rewritten. You might find that certain things just don't work anymore. And when I say don't work anymore, it doesn't mean in a bad way. It's just kind of, you know, okay, check in and be like, okay, what should I be doing now? Or, you know, check in with your higher self, check in with your Godhead. Okay, wow, all right, so this has all changed. Where are we at with this? How is this getting rewritten? How is this relationship getting shifted up? What's playing out here? What am I supposed to learn? You know, if if Archangel Michael's kind of like, look, we're going to go from having this, you know, kind of prayer, transactional worship kind of connection to a completely different one where, again, you are going through your evolution process and you are now working, you know, in the capacity of one who is actually ascending. It's going to change your relationship with these, you know, with whoever you're dealing with. So you're going to be finding that a lot. It's okay. It's actually really, really cool. And you might find that even more divine relationships are going to be presenting for you as well. So that is what I have got for you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And should you ever want to get a session with me, you can go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com, Patreon in the down bar below. And for those of you who are, you know, kind of wondering where your horoscopes are, your weekly horoscopes, remember they're all on one video now, and they're organized according to different chapters. So it's like a Virgo chapter, an Aries chapter, a Scorpio chapter. You can just bounce up and down, you know, and have all your sun, moon, rising stuff there. All right, y'all take care, and I will see you again soon. Thanks for dropping by.